Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Wednesday, May the 29th episode of the Bottomless Banter podcast with Chris and Jay. He's Chris, and I'm Jay. And if you're looking to add something humorous to your playlist rotation that's not going to get too serious or political, please consider clicking subscribe down below, and don't forget to click that little notification bell to receive notification when we post our new stuff.
Yeah.
It is Wednesday, this last weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, it was. Weekend. It was, absolutely. And we wanted to take a brief moment to be serious here for a second.
For just a minute.
Extend our appreciation to those men and women who have sacrificed everything and given their lives in order to make this a free country and in order to be able to let us do this kind of thing, have fun,
silly podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, thank you to the families as well who have lost loved ones. Thank you for your sacrifice as well.
Thank you.
So, anyways, it was a fun weekend.
It was.
So, what else is going on?
It was kind of a odd weekend or odd few weeks here. A story came out, and speaking of things that we have freedoms to do silly things.
Yeah, we could climb a mountain.
We can climb a mountain and along with 50,000 other people and get caught in a human traffic jam.
Yes.
So Mount Everest in Nepal is experiencing a record level of deaths this year.
This year, yeah. 11 already, right?
They've had 11 already.
11 deaths this year.
Yeah, which...
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I believe the previous record was like 9, something like that. So to be... We're
at
not even
already.
halfway through. We're a few days away from being halfway through the year.
Yeah. We are going to set record numbers this year, apparently.
It's insane to me that the reasoning for it is... So, the Nepalese government issues these permits to climb Everest.
The Napoleons.
Nepalese. I think it's Nepalese. They issue these permits to climb Everest.
The Asiatic people.
They've issued 381 permits to climb Everest this year.
Right. So they say that the reason that they've done this and it's gone up is because of natural disasters and the fact that people don't want to, that it's become such a huge tourist area that basically that all the money that they're getting is from tourism, and they're trying to just basically throw these things all over the place just to get money. And it looks like a circus. Have you seen some of the pictures?
My mom actually called me on this.
It's crazy.
And she was like, have you seen some of the pictures of, and of course the first thing I did was grab my phone and Google the pictures. I was just blown away.
It's crazy. There's a steady line. So people are holding on to cables. If you guys haven't seen it, go Google this thing. But people are holding on to cables, and there's a line like a mile long, like a single file line, all the way up to the top. I mean, climbing Mount Everest used to be like a prestigious thing. I thought
so too.
So once it gets to the point where you're standing in line, for hours and hours and hours. Well, I'm sure for how long does it take to climb Mount Everest? It's got different stages,
right? It's
got different camps,
right?
And I saw somebody doing a report yesterday or a couple days ago where they were actually doing a report at the base camp, and the oxygen was so thin there that she could feel it, and that she said it was affecting her just there at the base camp. So she's putting no effort into, she's not running around or doing anything, but it just shows how thin the area is up there. And a lot of these people have oxygen masks on, and it just seems like at that point, why do it?
I get that it's the highest place on Earth. I totally get that. And
go scuba dive with sharks or something.
Do something else or climb a different mountain. Who gives a shit if it's the highest on the planet? Now, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time.
So we've landed on the moon. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Is that confirmed though? I'm not sure.
Allegedly, we have landed on the moon. So now if somebody came to me and was like, hey, you're a average everyday Joe. How would you like to go to the moon? First of all, I say, F you, I wouldn't go to the There's no reason to go to the moon.
I don't like flying.
I wouldn't want to go to the moon. Yeah. So anyways, hypothetically, if I said yes and I went to the moon and I came back and I lived and everything else, I didn't get stuck there and have to grow potatoes like that movie, the movie about Mars or whatever it is, the Matt Damon movie or whatever. Anyways, so if I came back, I would be like, yeah, I was on the moon. Like, that's badass. There's not too many people that go to the moon. Me and Neil, that was it.
Right. That's
yeah, that was it. Just the two of us. But then next year, there's like 80,000 people that are they're all holding onto a cable, just pulling themselves to the moon. You know, at that point, the luster's kind of gone. Like, do we really give a shit? Like, let's go find something else to do. Let's go find something else. And another thing, people, when you go to Mount Everest, pick up your goddamn trash.
Oh my God! Some of the statistics that you told me,
there's 40,000 pounds of trash per year.
That's amazing.
I'm sorry. This year, 40,000 pounds. 40,000 pounds of trash has been removed. So, you know, I don't know how much more trash there is, but 40.
But that's what's been removed.
1,000 pounds. And by the way, it can't be that hard if you're climbing to the top of it and they got a friggin' garbage truck up there that's bringing down 40,000 pounds of trash, right? How are they getting that down?
Getting all that down.
Yeah.
Right?
How are they getting that down? Anyways, and 28,000 pounds in addition to that 40,000 pounds, 28,000 pounds of human waste, feces.
That's disgusting.
Seriously.
That's a lot of.
That is when the altitude gets like that, do people poop more?
You know what? That's a pretty good point, because I mean, if you had like a water bottle, the elevation would make the water bottle scrunch, right?
I guess maybe it squeezes all the shit out of you.
Yeah, so maybe it literally does that to your bowels, and
so people are just littering all through. It looks like they were showing pictures. It looks like Coachella without the herpes. I'll bet you there's going to be a herpes outbreak. I'll bet you there will be.
Yeah, but they're too exhausted on the mountain.
That could be true. But so they're certainly not spending any of their energy cleaning up after themselves. That's for sure. I mean, most of these people, I would assume, if you're that hardcore that you want to climb to the top of Mount Everest, you're kind of an outdoorsy kind of person. You're not like, I don't know, you're not like the kind of person that should be littering and leaving 40,000 pounds of trash and human waste all over the place. So anyhow, they leave there, they go to the top, and apparently most of them on their way down are, I guess, I heard some reports saying that people are dying waiting in line to get to the top from lack of oxygen and exhaustion. And then I've also heard some deaths that have been from people reacclimating back down. I guess it's kind of like, I don't know if it's like when you're diving and you have to kind of
reacclimate.
Yeah,
slowly.
you gotta slowly go back up in stages depending on how far you are down. So maybe you've got to do the same thing. It's like an elevation sickness,
or having been in it for that long.
Yeah,
seems to be the issue.
And they call it the death zone. And I'm reading it right here off of this newspaper article. They call it the death zone. Like if.
Jesus.
Hey, Jason, I've got a...
Sounds like a fun hike.
You know what? I'm going to take you somewhere this weekend. It's called the Death Zone. You know what? If you asked me that, I'd be like, no. Nope.
You know what? I think I'm good.
I'm busy.
Gonna stay down here below the death zone.
Yeah, exactly. Below the danger zone.
The death zone is here. I'm going to be way down here.
Exactly. Don't go anywhere that says death zone.
Death zone.
Because that's death. That's the zone of death.
Death is kind of permanent, so
I just don't think it's worth it these days. And
no, I don't think it's worth it at all. And I don't understand. It's like you said, some of the prestige has to be off of it if so many damn people are doing it.
Right. I mean, back in the old days, hey, I climbed Mount Everest.
Right.
Oh my God, that's
Holy
crazy.
crap.
That's amazing. Like you're going to teach a class. You're going to have a college class on how to climb Mount Everest.
You're going to write a book.
But now I'm in McDonald's and I'm like, hey, I climbed Mount Everest. And they're like, yeah, us too. We just got back from up there.
So many people, right?
Yeah, right. And we carried down our garbage with us. So when you get this is a little fun fact. I'm full of fun facts on this show. I'm full of something. But when you get your permit, the permit requires you to carry down your trash plus 17 pounds of additional trash.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's how they're trying to
That's how
monitor this. I don't know if there's like a trash police to like
Standing there with bags, like, here's your bag.
well, maybe they're and then you have to weigh it coming in, like when you go to the dump and when you come back out of the dump,
Man, you
how
gotta
they
go back
the
up.
landfill, or maybe it's like the airport where you go up and you put your
Right.
you put your luggage on the little conveyor belt, or before you put them on the scale, and they say, "Yep, 17 pounds.
you're
You can come through the turnstile. We've served 10,000 people today."
Your customer number.
Your customer number, your customer number 10,000. So you have to bring down 17 pounds. So I made it to the top of Mount Everest. I've got all my trash with me.
I'm exhausted.
I'm just about ready to die.
I can't breathe.
I can't
the
breathe.
air is not going properly into my lungs.
I've been at base camp. I've been at the second, third, and fourth, I think, base camps. And now I have to bring 17 pounds of trash with me.
And do they have these bags prepared for these folks, or do they have to collect the trash? What if they get to the turnstile and they've only got 15 pounds? Do they make their hike their back up the mountain and get 2 more pounds of garbage?
Maybe they're like punch cards, like per pound, and then you can like spend it at you could spend it at the Everest gift shop at the very base, at the very bottom, where everybody's taking pictures, where you should be.
Where you should be, down below the death zone.
Down below with everyone else.
Right.
So there's human waste everywhere. There's people sleeping in tents everywhere. They showed the tents.
Everywhere.
They showed the tents. There's garbage, and there's 11 deaths this year. I'd probably be safer going to Stockton.
Oh, Jesus.
So
there'd probably be less trash, possibly around the same amount of feces, and
the same
less
amount of
chance
tents
to die.
Same amount of tents.
Right, same amount of tents for sure.
Same amount of tents, and I've got just as much chance of dying every single time I go to the mall in Stockton as I do climbing to Mount Everest.
Right.
And it's a hell of a lot less energy. I don't have to put on an oxygen mask.
You can breathe somewhat better.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks.
It's got some bit.
Yeah, it's got some bad. But anyhow, Stockton seems a lot better to me than Mount Everest. I don't know.
And probably a little cheaper than $11,000 that it cost to climb up to the death zone too.
It probably
a little bit less. You can probably buy half of Stockton for $11,000 these days. Aren't they bankrupt? Didn't the city file for bankruptcy?
Yeah, a couple of years ago they sold a lot of properties and stuff like that. I don't know if they're.
It was right after the arena opened, even, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they had some property up here they ended up having to sell to another.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, to another city that I think went through bankruptcy and sold it too. So,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. You would think that some of the hardworking gangsters in Stockton might be able to go to work for the city and
There you go.
make some money.
There you go.
But I don't know. So what else is going on? Mount Everest.
Mount Everest. Yeah, it's all It's the all Mount Everest all the time.
Yeah.
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 Did you see that Marky Mark hired Jimmy Butler to come teach his kid basketball?
Yes, because she
Yeah.
wants to play in the NBA
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, WNBA, but
WNBA. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
she's a little girl, but
How old is she?
she in the video she looked to be 13ish.
High hopes.
I'm
already.
thinking, yeah, it's
How old do you have to be to get into the WNBA?
probably 18.
So she's
Well,
young.
you know what? I don't know because
Is she
the
short?
NBA has a 19.
Is she short like her? Like him? Like Marky Mark?
Well, I mean, she was a little girl standing next to Jimmy Butler, so she looked short. She looked very short.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can dunk a ball. How tall is he?
He
Like
looks short.
5'2"?
Yeah, he looks really short, but he's pretty built, so he could probably jump.
He's pretty ripped. Yeah. He just had a new movie come out. I can't remember what it was. I do like movies from him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't stand his brother, but Donnie.
Yeah, do you ever watch the Wahlburgers?
No, but I did watch the. There was a show called Blue Bloods that Donnie Wahlberg was on.
Really?
And it was a cop show, and it was in New York. It was the Magnum PI guy.
Oh, really?
He was the, I believe he was the commissioner. No, he wasn't the commissioner. He was the chief of police or something like that. But anyways, his
Blue Bloods or something.
yeah, Blue Bloods, and his 3 kids were all actually. One kid was it was a female. She was I believe a deputy DA in the county or in the city, and then he had a young grandson that was or a young son. I'm sorry, that was a brand new cop, and then Donnie Wahlberg, who was like the NYPD detective. Yeah. So I watched it for a little while, and he was kind of like, the badass, like New York detective, and was chasing everybody down and giving them the business all the time. Kind of a little bit heavy-handed, just kind of what you would think of as being
the classic.
Yeah, exactly. But then I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that Donnie from New Kids on the Block? And then it ruined the whole damn show. This is a funny thing. My dad watches it. He tells me, "Oh, this is a great show. You got to watch it." So, Tom Selleck, that's who it was.
There you go.
He's a bit of an overactor in the show. He plays a good character, I guess, but he's just I don't know, kind of a B-rated actor, I guess, or something. I don't know. He kind of drove me crazy in there. But anyhow, so I watched it, and it was a decent show. But then when I realized Donnie Wahlberg was in there, and he was a New Kids on the Block, I couldn't wait to tell my dad. I was going to just destroy my dad and be like, "Guess what? You're watching the show that you've been preaching about. It's got the friggin' New Kids on the Block. They're in cops. Oh no! This is Donnie Wahlberg. That's Mark Wahlberg's brother." I'm like, "Yeah, he's friggin' New Kids on the Block."
New Kids on the Block.
And he was horrified. He was mad.
Does he watch the show still?
Yeah,
I
think most of the shows are over with. I don't know if they still play it or not. I think I was watching on Netflix or something like that. But you never see the famous brother on that show, though. You never see.
He's never on there, really.
I've never seen him on there.
I've only seen highlights of it, and it's usually people making fun of it.
Yeah. I was always hoping he would like come out and be like the criminal or something like that. And like, Donnie would be like dancing a little bit. But you know what, Marky Mark, he had some songs and moves back in the.
He did back in his day.
Yeah,
he did.
You remember?
Good Vibrations, wasn't it? Isn't that the name of the song?
Yeah, you remember the band was?
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I do.
That's right. Yeah. Say hello to your mother for me, all right? That was my best Donnie Wahlberg.
That's pretty nice.
Mark Wahlberg.
That's real nice.
Say hello to your mother for me, all right? Anyways.
Well, back when he was rapping, I bet he didn't get banned from Vegas like Meek Mill apparently has been. Did you see
No, I did not see that. He's banned? How do you get banned from Vegas?
Apparently, there's a blacklist of black rappers floating around Vegas that are not being permitted into certain hotels. And the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas, apparently Meek Mill originally tried to go to the club that's there, and they said, "No, you can't. You're banned from the premises. You can't be here." And then he said, "Well, can I at least go get myself a bite to eat? I'm hungry." And they said, "No, you're literally like, because of a previous incident, you're not allowed on this premises whatsoever. Even if you get out of the car, we're gonna arrest you."
Really?
Yeah.
What? So a previous incident from him, or just
that
from
he apparently
rappers?
was involved in, was what this
he wasn't involved
security
in,
guy said.
He wasn't involved in Tupac or Biggie, was he? Because then I can
Well,
understand.
see, that's what they're saying is does Vegas have this list of rappers that they're not allowing into their facilities based off of the whole Tupac and Biggie thing? Like,
that's been a little while. It took a long time for that list to come out.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Sean Combs was involved in that.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, he was involved in that. I'm sure Snoop Dogg has been out there. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre.
I would think, yeah.
And Suge. Is Suge in custody still, or is he's?
See, I don't know that.
I thought he was. I think he's doing life. I think he's doing life for another murder.
Oh wow! Yeah, for the one when he backed over the guy, or
yeah, I think he's doing life for that one, or he's doing a pretty good extended. Yeah.
So Meek Mill's going to sue the hell out of this Cosmopolitan Hotel for.
Cosmopolitan seems rather of a white name to be kicking out black rappers,
right? Like you might want to have a little bit better PR than that.
Like maybe have somebody from MGM come over and tell them that they can't come in. That sounds a little bit better,
right? Just a little bit better. Just
I don't know.
Slightly.
Cosmopolitan just seems sounds
super white.
Because because I went and saw Kid Rock at Cosmopolitan.
Oh, did you?
And he's obviously super white.
Right.
So
he was allowed in. He was allowed to exit his vehicle.
Right. Nobody. I mean, I don't know about Kid Rock if he'd be out there doing a drive-by in a black Impala trying to kill Tupac, but I don't know. What about Mike Tyson? Is he allowed there? Because they were watching a Mike Tyson fight.
He was there involved with those guys.
What about the LAPD? Could they go there? I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Everybody thought the LAPD was the one that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, so where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
So is it just black rappers?
Apparently,
do we have any white rappers anymore?
We got Eminem still, right?
Do we?
I think he's still doing stuff.
I don't know.
And he's got that whole thing going with Machine Gun Kelly, and he's a white dude.
That's right. So during the Tupac Biggie thing, they were a couple years apart, but Eminem was in the scene then, right? I just threw out a
no.
Did you catch that? That was a Vanilla Ice. He was on the scene. Was he
the mic like a vandal?
Was he a rapper then?
No, he didn't come until a little bit later.
Because when was the Tupac? Was that 96? Or no, was that 92? I can't remember.
Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
I can't remember now, but anyhow.
No, it wasn't 92. It was 96. Sounds closer.
So yeah, okay. Well, so he came after that, but I do remember that was during the whole Death Row Records and all that, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So he never got involved in that. Maybe he's the one that did it. Nobody looked into him because he was the white guy.
Typical, right?
Yeah. So anyhow, I'd like to know who's on that list.
Well, I kind of have a feeling that I doubt that through this lawsuit that is apparently coming that we'll ever get to see the list.
Well,
I'd like to see that list.
That absolutely could come out because of the lawsuit too. It could become public record.
If there is even a list.
Could become public record.
We don't necessarily know that there is one.
If there's not a list, then there's definitely some explaining to do.
There's some splaining.
There's some splaining to do. But the list, depending on who's on that, I mean, again, are you putting all black rappers on that? Just people that are causing problems? I mean, if it's like an 86 list, like, hey, you came in here, you destroyed a bunch of shit, you're not coming back.
You're not coming back, period.
Obviously, I would understand that.
Yeah, you and the 27 other people that is in your group thrashed our hotel, and you're no longer allowed here.
That's correct.
I mean, I could see that happening, but
but
why is it all black rappers that's on this list? Why?
It'd be interesting to see if it was.
Why aren't there? So on a little bit lighter note, we had our county fair here as well.
Yes, the county fair.
Yes.
Holy crap. Yeah. So we have the Calaveras County Frog Jump.
We don't have a fair around here. We have a frog jump.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. A frog jumping Jubilee. Isn't that what it?
The frog jumping Jubilee. That is what it's called, yes. It's a historical thing. Yeah.
So I've lived in this county since I was 13 years old. I moved out of the county for a little bit. Didn't go far, but I moved out of the county for a little bit, came back.
You were in custody. So.
Exactly. If I moved out of the county, I mean...
You meant the county took over in your life,
told me
basically.
where I was going to be living for the next 7 years.
Right. You're not quite sure where you went because the van didn't have windows.
Right.
But they brought you back.
Right, exactly. So that's the plus side.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I always knew, obviously, of the frog jumps, but I always thought that the story was they had this frog jump in Jubilee, and that's just a thing that they always did. And then Mark Twain wrote about it, was what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But apparently the frog jump is in tribute to the story that Mark Twain wrote.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize.
Supposedly in 1865, Mark Twain was here in the county. He stopped by for about 20 minutes, and
because he was running from San Francisco politicians, right?
That's our claim to fame. He was here for a short amount of time, but while he was here, he was in a bar drinking, and overheard a story that somebody told about people that jumped frogs. And the story was basically he thought this was fairly humorous and decided to write a book. But the story that he was told or that he overheard was two guys that were in a competition. They were going to jump frogs. One guy said, "I bet my frog can jump farther than yours." And while the guy wasn't looking, he deposited a bunch of birdshot, I guess, into the stomach of the other guy's frog.
So the frog was heavier.
The frog was heavier, and the frog wasn't able to jump far. So the guy won, basically. The other guy won.
The other guy
obviously.
won.
The cheater won. So, anyways, this story, and it was a little bit more elaborate than that, but I hit all the high points. All the major high points I hit. It was a bar. There was frogs, birdshot, bugshot, buckshot, frog shot, and somebody lost, and then a book was written. So the actual first frog jump the book was written back in the 1800s by Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. That was his real name.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Samuel Clemens. That was his real name. Anyways, they called him. That was his stage name. So in 1929, the county decided that they were going to hold the first frog jump, Jubilee, and competition, which ended up morphing into the fair that we have now.
That we have today.
Yeah. So 1929. So it's gone every year. Actually, I believe they skipped a couple years during the war, if I remember right.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I believe they did that. They skipped a few years during the war. There was a shortage of frogs. I don't know if that's. Anyways,
frog shortage.
there was a frog shortage during the war.
They shipped them all off to fight the war
to France.
Right.
The frog legs, they were starving over there, so we shipped a bunch of them over there. The non-jumping ones, we filled them full of lead first. So
the losers.
Yeah. So anyway, so they had the very first one in 1929. It was a huge success. It was also the very first year that a carnival operator was arrested for outstanding warrants. Too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really? So it was a historical moment all around.
Fun fact there. Yeah. So that's another record that's yet to be broken. That the carnies can continue to get arrested. So out-of-state warrants.
Some things don't change. Huh?
Yeah. So the frog jump. So that's why there's a lot of frogs in different places in the county. There's they used to have the old Frosty in Angels Camp. Angels Camp is kind of the hub for the frog jump. It's actually the fairgrounds. It's actually in the county, but near the city. So the county does take care of it. But anyways.
And the frog's still there, right? They've knocked down the Frosty and they built that.
Yeah, the frog is not there.
No. See, I thought it was still there, and they just built the student center around it.
The frog is in hiding, actually.
Oh.
Yes, the frog is in hiding, and the reason is because when we were in school, there was a huge rivalry between Calaveras High School and Angels Camp, Bret Hart High School, mostly during football. A lot of some wrestling, but mostly football. And so the Frosty out there in Angels Camp used to have a big frog, a big green frog. It was like not porcelain, but like a ceramic or not ceramic, like I don't know what it was.
Like a statue.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a metal statue.
Like
it was
mortar or something. I don't know. Anyways, it was like a big concrete friggin' statue. Yeah. So allegedly, kids from the high school would go up and paint. Well, not allegedly. It started with people painting the frog. We'd paint it red,
which is the school color of Calaveras.
Of Calaveras, red and gold. And it was just kind of a something that we did. Well, it got to the point where that wasn't good enough. So the frog ended up getting blown up a couple times. And when I say blown up, I mean like with like quarter sticks of dynamite.
My junior year was one of the first times that it had happened.
So
blew the frog up. I remember
it went from fun to kind of borderline, criminal, or not borderline criminal, putting dynamite.
Flat out criminal.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely criminal. But anyhow, so it was blown up, and then it would hit the newspaper, and it was like, oh my God, those kids from CHS are a bunch of bastards because they're doing this. It would always be on the very front page of the newspaper. So it would be fixed, and just in time for us to blow it up again the next year. So anyways, when they tore that down to to I can't remember what the hell they tore it down for. Maybe the bypass was it for the bypass. It's a gas station now. I know that.
Yeah, you know what? It probably is that little bypass.
Could have been. But
See,
anyways,
I thought it was next to the high school, but it wasn't. It was on the other side of town. Huh?
Yeah, it was on the other side.
Yeah.
So supposedly it's fixed and it's in hiding, and it has been for quite a few years.
Oh.
But yeah, you can see frogs all over the place. The local sheriff's department used to have frogs on their patches, on their uniforms, and Angels Police Department has always had a frog on there as well. So yeah, it's the county of frogs.
Well, and here a few years ago they did the artsy ones where the different artists around would paint the frogs, and then they auctioned them off.
Yeah.
So there's fancy painted frogs around town.
These were good size too, but they weren't anywhere near the size of the old frog.
Yeah, the frosted frog, the poor abused frog.
Yes. So that's what our county's famous for. Well, frogs.
Frogs.
It's called Calaveras, which is the River of Skulls. So there's that. We also have the River of Death.
River of Death,
basically.
It's a giant burial ground.
We're known for serial killers.
Yes.
We have plenty of serial killers that have come from,
especially for such a small area to have that many serial killers. It's a little creepy.
Charles Ng and Leonard Lake, and then Sherman Tyner Herzog.
God, I forgot.
Possibly the Zodiac. They say the Zodiac was a school teacher.
I've heard that
school teacher at Valley Springs Elementary,
which is a trip.
Yeah, and we have Black Bart, famous stagecoach robber.
One of the first.
Yeah,
serial killers.
Very famous.
Yeah.
Charles E. Bowles, that was his name. Another fun fact.
Charles E. Bowles.
Charles E. Bowles.
Really?
That was his. Mark Twain or
Black Bart.
Black Bart was his robbery name. So we've got a lot of cool stuff, and we have some. When I was thinking about this, we have all those things that we're famous for: the frogs, the serial killers, and stagecoach robbers. A lot of crime, basically. We have Glory Hole Center, which is very interesting.
Right, which caught the attention of
Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, was it Larry the Cable Guy?
Larry
was
the Cable
first,
Guy came out.
Because Tosh, what's his first name?
Yeah.
Tosh.0.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
Yeah. So Glory Hole.
Yeah, that guy caught wind of it too. I noticed it.
Kids, don't Google that.
Yeah, don't. No. Lots of other stuff will pop up.
Yeah. What else do we have? We have a street in Murphy's that's called Rattlesnake.
Is that right? I
didn't
know that.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Why?
I don't know. Why call something Glory Hole? Glory Hole Center.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very large center. Yeah.
Well,
it's very glorious.
Yeah. So we are basically known for all things not good and criminal activity.
One thing we're not known for is beavers.
Beavers, yes.
We do not have beavers. However,
we do have beavers, though.
However, back when Chris and I used to work at the pizza place together, every night we were usually on the same shifts. We were usually on the closing shift because we would go to school together during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they would have separated us. There was no way we would have. They still should have.
The owners had two stores at that time. They should have separated,
which they did,
which they ended up having to do later on. But that was after we were both fired and had to be hired back.
Right.
This is sad.
So anyway,
so sad.
We were a little bit rough to work with. Not in a mean, hurtful way, but in a, I don't know if I would like working with us.
Yeah.
If I wasn't us, I probably would have hated us.
Yeah, I probably would have too.
So part of the job was in closing, we had to take the trash out at night.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the building was set up is it was a 2-tiered building, but it was like on a hill. So only half of the building had downstairs offices, and the other half, it was just a regular building.
Right.
It was a really weird setup. Anyway, the dumpsters were around back. And it was a pretty decent walk to get the trash taken out.
Right.
Takes probably 15, 20 minutes or 15 minutes or so total. Well, there was some flooding. the pizza place was next to a golf course, and a golf course that has traditionally always flooded pretty much.
Yeah.
And there was some flooding, and so they had these big hay bales along this creek that was next to the complex where the pizza place was. And we took the hay had been sitting there for a while, so it had some stiffness to it. And so we took. I love the sound effect.
Straight off the cuff there. That was a good one. That was a good one. I'm sure everybody liked that one. Yeah. But I hit the long one, so you gotta wait. Wait there a little bit. Okay.
So anyhow, thank you for calming down, folks.
We're back on.
So we took these hay bales, and the layers within the hay bales came out in blocks, like about yay big blocks, flat blocks. We took those and we built a beaver hut on this creek
I had to.
out of these hay bales.
Beavers.
Well, we were down there around with this stuff for
Every time you say something to do with beaver, I'm
you're
hitting that,
hitting
just so you know.
the doing.
Pardon the pun.
So we build this hut, and the manager that we were working with,
Which, by the way, took a lot more work and energy than our whole work day.
than the whole workday.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That we didn't want to do. Yeah. So we were down there for a long time
Making a beaver hut.
making a beaver hut.
20-year-olds.
Yes. Our coworker, our manager, that was the only other person on shift, locked the pizza place up, came all the way down to these dumpsters
With a
with
knife.
a really, really large knife.
Yeah.
Which, in looking back on it, that's kind of bad that she did that, because
I
she didn't
guess.
know what the hell she was walking.
She
down
liked
there
us too. We're
For
all-
some reason, yeah, she liked us even though we were total dicks.
Yeah. She liked us. She was fun.
Yeah, she was fun. Yeah,
We could say her name. Her name was Diana.
yeah,
I like Diana.
yeah.
She
I
was a
always
lot
did.
of fun.
Yeah, 901.
Yeah.
So anyway, she comes walking down with this huge knife to see why in the world we haven't come back up yet. And we start yelling, "There's beavers in there!" And we're
Sorry.
pointing at this made hut.
Yeah.
And she keeps ducking her head down, and she's looking in there, and she can't. She's like, "I don't see any." No, there's beavers in there.
Oh, jeez.
She thought forever that an animal had built it. I don't think until days later that we told her that we actually were the ones that built this
Beaver hut.
beaver hut. Yeah,
We got beaver fever from it.
we did. Yeah. Which would be really weird if Justin Bieber was huddled up down in that hut.
Maybe that's where he was made. That would be about that time. He was probably
That would be
just born about that time.
He probably could fit in the beaver hut
Yeah, that's true. He probably
at
could
the
have.
time.
That's
It's baby Bieber.
Beaver fever.
Baby Bieber.
That's it.
Hey.
Hey. All right.
So anyway.
I think I've exhausted the sounds for the day.
So anyway, folks, thanks for listening to us, and our little stories, and we appreciate you guys. We enjoy doing this, so we hope you enjoy it.
Even though you don't think this one was very funny, we're still technically the second funniest show
We are
in history about nothing.
about nothing. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the second funniest and second highest rated.
And we're only the current running, the only current running, because the other one's
Only
off
current
the air.
running. That's true. That's
off
very
the
true.
air. Yeah, we are.
You're only going to find your new nothing here.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So
anyhow,
thank you guys. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
See ya.
Have a good night. You forgot to say stay.
Oh, stay sexy, San Andreas. Oh, I
Yeah.
did both of my things at the same
You
time.
did.
That
You
was-
did the point of
What's
the,
up? Stay sexy, San
Stay
Andreas.
sexy.